Hello! We're back. We are so back. It's been a minute. I apologize. This is the busiest month of my life. I don't know what happened. I've had something every day for the last month. This is never going to happen again. When was the last episode? It was before my birthday. My birthday was May 10th. I've had something every day, every weekend day, every week, the whole time. It's been a lot, but we're back. And we're back on the grind. A lot's happened in mostly the MLB is what I'm talking about, but life stuff too. Next episode later this week, we'll dive more into the trends of like how teams are doing, guys who've been called up, guys who are hot, what's going on. We'll dive into all that stuff because there's some juicy stuff. I'm not an awards guy, but the NL Cy Young race looks electric right now. But that's for later this week. Right now, we're going to do a little general catch up. I'm just going to fill you in on the headlines of the MLB recently. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the top of this draft class because there was some bananas college baseball stuff going on, and it's still going on, that might affect the draft, probably doesn't, but it's adjacent. So we're going to talk a little college ball, and we're going to talk a little draft after. But first, I want to catch you up on the MLB, just general headlines. Kind of recently after the last episode, so this is going on a couple weeks ago, we had the rivalry weekend, which I'll be honest, usually doesn't do it for me. Obviously, there's the big rivalries that are fun. I believe for the rivalry weekend they do like Yankees Mets, even if it was Yankees Red Sox, both awesome. Like maybe not this year, but usually there's some pretty cool matchups. But then there's some that just don't make sense to me. What's the Eddie Vedder Bowl? What are the Padres and the Mariners doing playing in a rivalry weekend? I don't understand it. But this year, the series were awesome. I think the fans really packed a punch and made rivalry weekend what it was. Because I'm going to talk about a couple here. Biased Nationals fan here. The Nats had one night where it was basically a hot dog night, and props on them. They're playing the Orioles, crosstown rivals. They did like a $1 hot dog night where they did a giveaway where it's bad day to be a dog. There's people in hot dog costumes. The place is packed, and the Nationals won a sick game, and it felt almost like a playoff game, which sounds ridiculous. But we haven't had that in DC in a long time, and that was awesome. The other way the fans showed up, rivalry weekend, and this goes back this far, that is still happening now. If you don't know about the tarps off phenomenon in baseball, buckle up, people. Rivalry weekend, the Cardinals, who are they playing? I want to say they were playing the Cubs. That would make the most sense for rivalry, but I'm not positive on that. I should have looked that up. They're playing a rival. Deal with it. And there's, I believe it was 8 or 10 guys from JMU, James Madison University, I believe. And they're sitting up there in a section and, normal fans. And then one inning, they decide it's time to rip the shirts off, wave them in the air, get loud. Tarps off, right? This caught on. And before you knew it, there was a whole section of men, shirts off, going crazy, waving them in the air. This sparked Ollie Marmol, the Cardinals manager, in his post-game press conference to unprompted, before anyone asked him a question, he said, whatever I have to do to make that happen every night, I'm doing it. And then he kept his word, and the next game he bought an entire section out so you could just claim a free ticket, but all you had to do was take your shirt off and be loud. Awesome. If the story ended there, it'd be awesome. But it doesn't end there because it caught on. And not only has it happened at every Cardinals game since then, it's happened at about every baseball game since then. It's everywhere. Angel Stadium has had some awesome ones. Nats Park has had some awesome ones. And if you look at my head, one of the reasons I was so busy, I was in a wedding in Arizona. I went to a Diamondbacks game, and guess who went tarps off? This guy. If you're not following us on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, go check that out. I made it onto Diamondbacks Twitter. I am a little tiny blob on there, but I did find myself. That is me that's circled. It was kind of like the Cardinals game. It was 8 guys for most of the game, and I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not a real one. I want to be part of a pack. I want to be hidden, And then bottom of the 8th inning rolls around, and it's picking up steam. I mean, there are like 50 people over there, and I'm like, it's time. Last inning, let's go. I actually followed I was following the Arizona Diamondbacks mascot, Baxter, which is a bobcat for some reason. I don't know. I was following him to the tarps off section. That last inning, we went shirts off. We were waving them. We were getting loud. And I'm so happy that I got to be part of one of these things because it was awesome, dude. A lot of fun. And the fact that it started in such a crazy way with the Cardinals and how much they bought into it. I'll be honest, at first, I didn't like that other teams were doing it. I kind of wanted it to be the Cardinals things because of how cool that interaction was with the coach and the guys who started it. The guys who started it got invited down into the clubhouse. Don't call it a locker room. Clubhouse. It's so cool. The fans are juicing the players up. The players are showing love to the fans. It's just it's awesome. It's what the fans want in baseball. That was great. I was part of a tarps off. I made it on D-backs Twitter. Awesome. Another thing. I'm gonna go to some stadiums this year. I'm gonna be posting some sort of stadium content, something. For this one, I didn't have an idea or the equipment of what I wanted to do with it, so there's no personalized content to the stadium. But I will say right now, we went to Arizona when I was 10-ish, somewhere in there, so I don't remember it that well, but they've made upgrades, and usually the dome stadiums and that sort of thing, not the best, but the D-backs, that stadium's awesome, and that game was awesome. It was when they were playing the Rockies, and Ketel Marte hit a nuke. He was very hot at that point, but that ball went 5 million feet. And then, just an awesome experience at that game. They had a promotion where they had hot dogs flying in from the sky on parachutes. I mean, they're just, the Diamondbacks, their marketing team or whatever is on their A game, man. Just unreal. So that was a ton of fun. Very glad we went to that game because we were considering it. And then along the lines of the X Twitter, if tonight I'm going to be making an Instagram for this podcast and a TikTok. I don't even have a real TikTok for myself because I had it for 2 weeks and I was addicted. And I was like, this isn't good. So I deleted it. Not trying to say I'm better than anyone, but I did that. I'm going to make a TikTok. I'm not going to post to it tonight, but I'm going to do my best to post a decent amount. Whatever speaks to me in short form content. The one thing I know I kind of want to do is maybe like a weekly Nats recap, Nats catch up, because it's especially when I'm busy like I have been for the last month, it's tough to stay on top of the whole MLB. But I can promise you one thing, I am watching every Nats game, and if for some reason I can't watch it, I'm either listening to it or I'm keeping track of it. And then if I didn't watch the whole game, I'm watching the condensed game that tells you everything. So I know my Nats. So we're at least going to be doing that, but we'll be posting short form content. I'll make sure to shout those out with the ats in the next episode, and we'll try to tweet those out and everything. So if you guys aren't following on Twitter, go follow. We'll have more content. I'll probably post the videos to Twitter too. So they'll be everywhere for you to enjoy, whichever one you prefer. But yeah, those are coming. I'll catch you guys up on that at the end of the week. That's kind of the general catch up. like I said, end of the week, we're going to dive a little bit more into the standings. I know it was a month ago, but the last episode was like a standings check-in recap type of thing. Oh, the Reds just walked off the Royals. Nice. What a bad take, the Royals. Yikes. I know the last episode was like a standings check-in, so I'll try to make it not so much that, and I'll talk more about guys who've been hot, guys who got called up, which Colt Emerson, Mariners, hello. But yeah, we'll do that on Friday. For this episode, we're going to dive in. I want to just frame the first round of the draft and just give you guys a nice little knowledge of the top of this draft. Because with baseball, it's tough. You're going to have guys that go in round 5 where you're like, I don't know who that is. And they'll be great or they'll be nothing. And it doesn't matter. But the first round, you should know the first rounders. Because for the most part, you know who's going to go there. So for this episode, I looked at the top 15. And I'm using MLB Pipeline. If you want to get into the draft, MLB Pipeline is the most accessible free version of like prospect rankings, and they write up scouting reports and they have grades. So that's the easiest way to get into it. I would not say MLB Pipeline is the best at what they do. Their prospect rankings I have problems with all the time. Not only the draft, but like the top 100s, there's problems. They don't do the best job, but they're free and they do a pretty good job. So we're going to be looking at Pipeline just because I want it to be accessible, and I also don't want to be giving out information you have to pay for from like Baseball America just for free. You know what I mean? So we'll be using Pipeline, and I just went off their top 15, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of base information. One of the things is you have to know if you're scouting, right? And this goes for draft prospects. The 20 to 80 scale, if you don't know what that is, that's the way that baseball scouts scout. Each player has a tool, has 5 tools if they're a position player, right? The hit, the power, the run, the arm, and the fielding. Those get graded from 20 to 80. And each variation of 5 in between is its own, like, oh, future superstar, future star, future average starter, future all-star. So they try to assign the correct number of what they think the attribute has. 80s never get given out. The only time you'll see 80s, which is elite, like generational type of trait, is usually with speed, right? Your Chandler Simpsons, your Billy Hamiltons, those type of guys that are just complete track stars and transcend baseball with their speed, those are usually the 80 grades you're going to get. If a guy has insane pop or like throws 103 in college, like Ben Joyce coming out of Tennessee, they'll probably have like a 70 to a 75 power or fastball. So it's generally impossible to get an 80. What you're really looking for is like 60 is like, okay, this dude's legit. This is a legit tool that could be like really good at the MLB level. Kind of what you're not looking for is anything 40 or below that's a below average tool. If it's 45 and up, there's so much variance with prospects, especially when you're talking high schoolers, that they can always grow into whatever, right? If it's contact, they can always refine their approach. If it's power and they're a high schooler, they can grow into their power. If it's run, might be the one where like how much faster are you getting? Arm, obviously, you have off-season training programs of arm strengthening, and then fielding is just putting in work fielding. So really, there's a grain of salt to be taken with these, especially with the high schoolers. But 20 to 80 scale, that's what you're working with. For reference, the first guy we're going to talk about is Rock Chalowski. He's the shortstop at UCLA who just ended their run. Actually, we're going to go on a slight tangent and talk about college baseball. College baseball is crazy right now. If you don't know, The College World Series is what happens in Omaha, and there's, I believe, 8 teams, and it's a tournament style, double elimination. Winner wins the whole damn thing. Right before the College World Series is the Super Regionals. Super Regionals is a best of 3 series between 2 teams. That's what's going to happen this weekend. What just happened last weekend is the regular regionals, which is where all the top seeds host a regional with 4 teams. And each team plays the other 3 teams once, and whoever has the best record coming out of that advances to Super Regionals. The top 2 teams in the nation, number 1 UCLA, home of number 1 prospect Rock Chalowski, and number 2 Georgia Tech, home of number 2 or 3 prospect. I would say 2. Pipeline says 3. Vaughn Lackey, the catcher. They were both thought to be like legit World Series favorites, should win the whole damn thing. They both got booted at home in their own park in the regional, which has never happened. The number 1 team in the nation has never been booted, and the number 1 and the number 2 teams got booted. Now, here's the weird part. In my head, UCLA got booted first. So in my head, Rock Chalowski has been the 1-1 the whole year. He's been talked about as the dude in this draft the whole year. Vaughn Lackey, the catcher for Georgia Tech that I talked about, and I will talk about more. If you're not understanding this well, I will explain more. He's been awesome. And my thought as soon as UCLA got booted is, hey, Georgia Tech, if they go to the College World Series and you don't see Rock Chalowski for 2 weeks and you see Vaughn Lackey being a stud on the biggest stage in college baseball, does that give Lackey a chance to jump him? And I started getting these thoughts of, I think this can happen. And someone I really respect and get a lot of my MLB draft content from, Joe Doyle, who runs the Overslot podcast, I believe. Yeah, the Overslot podcast. Fantastic work. Go check him out if you want to learn more about the MLB draft. He actually has Vaughn Lackey as the first player on his board. So I feel good about that take, knowing that he is also on that. But Georgia Tech got bounced too. So college baseball has been insane. MLB has been so fun. But let's dive into the list now that I got my college takes out. Number 1, like I said, Rock. If you're looking at the 20 to 80, I won't read these off for every guy, but just for reference, he's a stud. He's an all-around stud. The hit tool is a 60, right? And we're talking 20 to 80. 60 is like really good. Power is 60. Run is 45. That's the one tool that he doesn't necessarily have in the bag. It's not a liability, but it's fine. Arm is 60. Fielding is a 60. I think the fielding might be a little low. I think he's an absolute stud at short. But this is one of those profiles where it's like there's no 70 tool, so you're not looking at someone with some crazy tool, but everything is just so good. He's been awesome this year for UCLA. I'm going to give comps where I see them fit. I don't like forcing comps because a lot of times what you end up with is, oh, this is a big lefty shortstop, Corey Seager. And this happens. This is cross sport. There's a lot of football ones that are bad, but there are some baseball ones where it's like this guy gets brought up as a comp every time, and it's not right. So I like giving comps where I see fit. And what you really have to take with a grain of salt is if I give a comp and then something follows it, like if I were to give the Corey Seager comp, but then I say with maybe less power, that's really important because you hear Corey Seager and you go, woo! But then you hear the less power and you're like, okay, I got to temper expectations because he's not that fast. He's not some crazy defender. Right? So listen to the whole thing. Don't just hear a player comp and go, woo! Or oh no, right? Listen to the whole thing. Number 1, with Rock, I do see a comp, but I see a little bit more upside in Rock. The comp is, funnily enough, another 1-1, is Dansby Swanson. Dansby, he's pretty much delivered on what we thought he was going to be coming out of college. Maybe you had a little bit more hope for the bat, but being this good for this long and being that good at shortstop is really all you can ask for. And I think that's what you're going to get out of Rock. I think there's a little bit more upside in the bat. He's been so good at UCLA, but it's the same thing in Dansby where he's not a freak athlete, but the fielding is so good that you have 100% a surefire good shortstop for the next however many years you want to pay him for, right? So Rock has the upside to be more than that and be like truly special. Like maybe you're gonna like athleticism wise, like kind of Gunnar Henderson-ish, right? He's not Bobby Witt. He's not the 5-tool freak, but he's going to mash. He's going to play good short. I'd say Rock's glove is a little bit better than Gunnar, but that would be like the upside case. Dansby would be like what I would feel good about. Like, hey, this guy's going to field. He's going to hit a good amount. There's a little bit of concern with the whiff, but it's not too bad. The next guy we're going to talk about, again, going off pipelines things, I'd probably have Vaughn Lackey right here, but we'll talk about him next. Next guy we're going to talk about is Grady Emerson. He is a shortstop out of Texas. He's a high schooler. He's 18 years old. 6'2", hits lefty, throws righty. I'll try to do a better job of profiling them. Again, kind of the similar conversation of Rock, not a freak athlete, but he should stick it short. A lot of what I've heard is best bat to ball in this draft. I don't have a comp. I need to watch more video, and I'm going to dive into more video. And as we dive into more video, I'll have more in-depth breakdowns of these guys. But 6'2", with a really good hit tool, that's exciting. I mean, that's something that a guy can grow into, power, and you already know he can hit. With that frame, playing good shortstop, that feels good, man. I mean, you're never going to feel extremely safe with a high schooler, but when they can flash a great hit tool, especially in the summer circuit when you're facing other guys that are like MLB draft dudes, because putting up crazy numbers at a random high school doesn't do anything for you. You need to see the guy facing 92 and up, and you need to see him not strike out all the time against it. And that's what we've seen from Grady Emerson. Pretty confident he's going to grow into a good player, could grow into an awesome player. This is one, again, I said, don't throw out the Corey Seager comp, but 6'2", big lefty shortstop. If he grows into power, it's that type of Gunnar Henderson, Corey Seager profile of just a power hitting, good fielding, not crazy athlete shortstop. Number 3, we talked about him a little bit. Vaughn Lackey. He's a catcher for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's team was awesome this year. They had him. They had Drew Burress, who we'll talk about in a little bit. The comp, just kind of player fit wise, is kind of Salvi. Just such good defense behind home plate, and the power is legit. And his ability to pull the ball in the air, which is obviously the optimal thing you're looking for hitting, is so good. So whenever he's making contact, he's optimizing it by pulling it in the air. It sucks that we don't get to watch him these next couple weeks in the College World Series, but that's not going to affect his stock. He's going to go top 3. I would assume at worst he's a top 5 player. The next guy is going to be Jackson Flora. Electric. This guy pitches for UCSB. UCSB is like not a great baseball school, but they pump out pitching like nobody's business. The pitching prospects that come from UCSB are awesome. You got Shane Bieber. You got Jackson Flora this year. You had Tyler Bremner last year, and that's just to mention a few. There's some other dudes that have come out of there. Here's your first 70 grade. Jackson Flora's fastball is electric. I mean, that's the 70 grade. He pumps 100 consistently. He's 6'5", pretty lean. He has some room to fill out, but he's 205. He's fine if he wants to live there. He's 21 years old, pretty young for college. It's good. But yeah, he's mostly fastball, slider, changeup. If he can develop another pitch, it'd be awesome. But the fastball is the carrying tool. It's going to be great. I would say those four are like comfortably the first tier. The one guy I might push up into it is Jacob Lombard, who, if the name sounds familiar, his dad played in the bigs. His dad, I believe, was the first base coach for Team USA in this WBC, and his brother is a prospect for the Yankees that has some serious juice over the last couple of years. He's like a legit prospect. He has the best chance to push into like the top 3 or so out of anyone below like that top 4, I would say. But he is a high schooler out of Florida. He hits right, he throws right, he plays shortstop, 6'3", a little bit like more of a run tool. The shortstops we've talked about previously are more you dream on the upside of the bat, but the glove is good enough without the crazy athletic ability. This is a 65 run tool with a little bit worse on the fielding, which can always improve, but the power's there too. So this is a twitchy dude that's fast, and so this is a little bit more of a chance at, I'm not going to say he's Bobby Witt, obviously, but this is more of a chance at that type of player. This is more of a chance at your 5-tool freak. He's also 6'3", so he's got room to build into the frame. He's only 185 right now, so that will fill out for sure. Only 18 years old. But that's your guy, I think, that has the best chance to rise up into the top 3, Jacob Lombard. At 5, or 6, sorry, Justin LeBron is going to be one of the most polarizing players in this draft. He's the shortstop for Alabama. Not a great year for Alabama, but his good is insane. Like, he's such a twitchy athlete. When he turns on baseballs, they go. This is the guy. He could go anywhere. He could slip to the end of the first round. He could go top 6. I don't know what to expect. I believe Alabama's moving on. So this is, if they get into the College World Series, it would be huge for him to show up, because while scouts aren't completely influenced by one great tournament, you get the eyes of the GMs and the higher ups even more when you look at the College World Series. So someone going on some crazy run in the College World Series can really affect someone's draft stock. So if he just goes off over the next week in Supers and in the College World Series, that'd be so big for his draft stock, because like I said, I could see him going anywhere in the first round. That's also something you saw with Gage Wood, who's a great prospect for the Phillies now. I believe he played at Arkansas, and he threw a no-hitter in the College World Series at Omaha. And so he was like a late 2, early 3 prospect, and then he threw the no-hitter, and it was just skyrocket. And he ended up going in the first round to the Phillies, and now he's a good prospect. So hopefully Justin LeBron could do that. That would be awesome. Number 7, Eric Booth Jr. This is your absolute speed demon. Another high schooler, outfielder. He's a little bit younger. He's a 17-year-old. Not crazy big, 6 foot, 207. So he could fill out a little bit more, but like he's kind of already there. The hitting is, we'll see what we get, but the run is a 70. He's going to run all over the place. This feels like a good enough hitter fielder with the speed tool to carry. You're maybe looking at like the high school version of an Enrique Bradfield Jr. that's in the Orioles system right now that went to Vanderbilt. That kind of like, okay, the hit tool, the power doesn't crazy excite you. The fielding isn't anything crazy. The arm isn't anything crazy. But when you combine all those kind of average-ish tools on top of this like elite speed, you got a good player. So that's where Eric Booth Jr. is. The next guy, number 8, we are going to talk about Drew Burress. And this is who I referenced with Von Lackey as the teammate at Georgia Tech. Drew Burress, if you look at just the measurables, 5'9", 185. What? Is he a second baseman? Is he Jose Altuve? No. He has Georgia Tech's home run record. 5'9", 185. This guy's a stud. This isn't the comp, but the swing is Pedroia-esque of like a little man just putting so much into this. He just rakes, man. Like I said, he broke the home run record. He's got 60 grade power as a guy that's 5'9". That's awesome. Playing outfield, the tools are more exciting than you would think from a guy being 5'9", and just like his general build. He doesn't look like an athletic freak, but we're talking about a 55 run, which is, average to above average. A 60 arm is awesome. And again, the guy just rakes. I've heard him talk a decent bit in interviews and stuff. The makeup seems awesome. He seems like a great dude, a great teammate. A couple days ago after they got eliminated, he just unprompted went off about how much of an honor it's been to play with Von Lackey, and he just seems like a very good dude, which matters, obviously. And I'm not going to have the how good is the guy report on every person, but when it's out there and you're getting a good guy, that obviously helps. So Drew Burress rakes. The one concern is he's undersized, but with the pop he's putting up and the tools, I don't care. The next one is going to be Sawyer Strosnider. He's another college outfielder. TCU guy. And this is where I'd say there might be another little bit of a drop-off. Definitely a drop-off in the college hitting. I would say, and this has been my problem with the MLB draft. Last year, I had Seth Hernandez as my number one prospect. I think I've talked about this on here before. I think there's a disconnect in how scared teams are by high school pitching and where they should be drafted. Seth Hernandez went, 6th last year? And he already looks like he's probably the best player in last year's draft, ? Eli Willits looks great. I have no regrets with the Nationals taking him with the number one pick. But I said before the draft, teams are too scared by high school pitchers because they're harder to project. I understand that. And they're going to get injured. I understand that. But this was a kid that was 18 that was throwing 99 with an elite changeup. Stop you right there. He's also 6'5". Okay, Seth Hernandez, put that in the past. My thing here is I'm talking about a college outfielder that's toolsy, but you don't love the bat right now, and you're hoping on him to develop the hit tool over the top high school pitchers. I don't love that. But yeah, he's a toolsy outfielder. He's 6'2", hits lefty, throws lefty. The good news is he's young for college. He's only 20 years old. He will be 21 before the draft, but still young. Yeah, the hit is the concern. It's a 45 for Pipeline. The power and the run are great. That's what you're dreaming on. Toolsy outfielder, Sawyer Strosnider from TCU. This is kind of why I have the problem with ranking him above. Is the next guy is Gio Rojas. He's the first high school pitcher on the board, and he's a lefty, and he's from Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. If that sounds familiar, they are a powerhouse. They've had a ton of MLB players come from Stoneman Douglas. Anthony Rizzo among them. I can't remember the other names right now, but powerhouse of a high school. He's 6'4". He's only 18 years old. He throws lefty. fastball, slider, changeup, blows gas. I like sign me up all day. He's number 10 there. Number 11 is AJ Gracia. AJ Gracia is exciting. And I know I kind of just talked a little bit down on Stroh and this is maybe a little bit of a similar player, but it's more rounded out tools of like not as toolsy. You can tick those tools down a little bit. He's not going to run as well. The power isn't going to be as crazy. The exit velos aren't going to be as high, but his hit tool is much better. This is a well-rounded player. 6'3", hits lefty, throws lefty. Again, 21 years old, out of Virginia. This is and such a smooth swing. I love his swing. He's one of, I wouldn't say he's my guy. Again, I still have to dive into video on all these guys, but early looks to be one of my guys. The next one on the list is Chris Hakopian. He is the second baseman for Texas A&M. He's 6'1", hits righty, throws righty. Looks filled out. He's 6'1", 210. Doesn't feel like there's too much more there. If you're familiar with the draft, last year Gavin Keelan was the Tennessee second baseman that the Giants drafted. Feels so similar. Good hit tool. You're not going to get really any crazy tools. That's kind of where this college bat class is. Like, this guy's ranked 12th, and you're just like, hey, this guy's going to hit, right? And he's playing second base, so it's not even the most valuable position. I like these type of profiles. I don't love them. It feels safe, which I'm sure when you're sitting in the chair of a GM or a president of baseball ops or whatever, the man in charge, it feels good to get a nice layup and not risk your job or your well-being on the Sawyer Stroh of the world, where you're like, if they could just click. But from this chair, from my chair, where I have nothing to lose, I don't like betting on the guys that just like don't have anything to dream on, right? So to me, not my favorite profile. He's going to be a fine player. But yeah, he's number 12. Number 13 shouldn't be number 13, but he has been hurt all year. Cameron Flukie from Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is sneaky baseball powerhouse. If you guys didn't know that, this guy's 6'6". He's a righty. He's 210, so he's got some more room to fill out at 6'6", but just blows gas. It's a shame he got hurt this year, like I said, because he'd probably be higher than, he would be higher than this. I think he'd be in contention with Jackson Flora for first pitcher off the board, but with the injury, he's going to slip. I hope he slips to 11 to the Nats. I said it. But it'll be interesting to see where he goes, because last year was so good from him, and then you just have like nothing to go off this year. 14 is Liam Peterson. He's a pitcher for Florida, and he is one of the more interesting pitchers in this draft because the stuff is electric. He's got 4. My apologies. He's got 4 pitches that are just gross. He pumps. He's 6'5", 225, filled out. I think he's pretty much there in terms of his body. He's only 20 years old. He'll be 21 on draft day, but a young 21. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, and the fastball pops. He throws hard. The command is a work in progress, and that's the problem. And that's usually what you're going to get with these guys is, the stuff is great. He's not Paul Skeens. There's going to be a problem. But these are the guys that if you can hone them and you can get them in the zone, this stuff is legit. The body, the 6'5", 225, you love to see that. Comes from a powerhouse program in Florida. Awesome. Another guy that is in the Nats range of like, I wouldn't be mad to see it. And then 15 to round it out, we'll talk a little Derek Curiel, the LSU outfielder. And he's a little similar to Gracia that I talked about. Not as much power, I would say. But in the same way of like the tools aren't going to pop off at you, but the hit tool is like nice. Lefty, 21, 6'2", so not as much room to fill out and grow into pop, but just a good, solid hitter. Yeah, that's the top 15. There's other names that I think probably should be in the top 15. We'll talk a little Jared Granlinger. Shout out Huntington Beach. Goes to Huntington Beach High School, which, whatever. But he's a guy that reclassed. He's 17 and will be 17 on draft day. He'll be 17 going into next season, like ridiculous. Also, a legit two-way player candidate. I don't see a team giving a guy a shot at it, but he's one of those guys where, like, if you do want to give someone a shot at it, he might be the guy. I'm just kind of scrolling, looking here at people who maybe should be top 15. Tyler Bell, the shortstop for Kentucky. He's a young college guy. He's only 20. He'll be a very young 21 on draft day. Not the craziest build, 6'1", 190, so he's got room to fill out. But he hits switch, which I am a sucker for. And he's been killing it. He's been awesome this year. So that's another guy to look out for in kind of that top 15 range. But like I said, Pipeline does generally a good job. I think there's some stuff they miss on. So I just wanted to throw those guys in at the end. This was just a general primer of, hey, this is the general profile of the top 15 guys in this year's draft. We've got another, month and a half-ish until the MLB draft. So these next couple weeks are going to be grinding video on these guys, finding my favorite sleepers in the 2 to 5 round range. And we'll have a lot more information for you guys later. Again, look out for, we're going to make an Instagram. We're going to make a TikTok. I'll be sure to tweet those out if you're not following the Twitter at KIS_pod. And then, later this week, we'll talk more MLB. I'll try to catch you guys up on what's happened the last month or so. And then moving forward from there, we're going to dive into the draft while staying current with MLB. That's the plan. And if you're excited for that, subscribe, like, follow, rate. I don't know. I haven't perfected the promotion read yet, but do all that stuff, please. Recommend it to a friend that likes baseball. Do all that stuff. Thank you. Happy Tuesday. Have a nice week.